Excellent. So I'm George Zanovich. I'm the CEO of St. James Gold. We're a very young company. I joined the company about 10 months ago. We had nothing but an idea. We had a very tight share structure. To this day, we have 22 million shares outstanding, fully diluted. That's 28 million shares, so very small float outstanding. In the past 8 to 10 months, we raised $10 million, and we acquired several assets in Newfoundland and our flagship asset in the Yukon. So our flagship asset, the Florin Gold Project, it's in the Tintina Gold Belt. It's a gold mineralized, extensive tombstone rock complex that was basically evolved 90 million years ago, give or take a million. And it's responsible for defining about 200 million ounces of gold. Our project, again, the Florin Gold Project, is a tombstone porphyry complex, and it's backstopped by 2.5 million ounces. That's an inferred resource. It's also based on only 17,000 meters of drilling. To give you context, some of our neighbors, Victoria Gold, Golden Predator, White Gold, they have several million ounces, maybe perhaps an indicated higher category, but they were based on 200,000-300,000, even 1 million meters of drilling, such as Victoria Gold's case. Again, our project is backstopped by a 2.5 million ounce inferred resource, and that was based on only 17,000 meters of drilling. One of the reasons we're able to get a 43-101 with so little drilling is because of the nature of the deposit or the resource. It's a finely disseminated, consistent system, and that's allowed us to get to our resource with so little drilling. Very interesting to know, this project was mothballed for about a decade. So the drilling that I'm talking about, the inferred resource that I'm talking about, that was from 2011. Since then, very little work has been done on the project. So it's basically, I kind of like to term it a Halley's Comet. It was last seen a decade ago, and it's reappeared in its public domain through our company, St. James Gold. What we did this summer in a very short time frame, in a matter of 6 weeks, we managed to drill out the property. We looked to build tonnage, so building on that inferred resource of 2.5 million. It's actually a 3.5 million under a block model, but for NI 43-101 standards, we can only report 2.5 inferred. We built out tonnage, and we also looked at getting a long strike to develop, to identify new discoveries on the mountain. So what we know about this property, based on the drilling in 2011, and hopefully it's going to be reinforced with our drilling results in the next couple of weeks, is that this is a mountain full of gold. It's mineralized throughout. It's consistent, and it's barely being touched. So we're very excited to talk about this property and see where it leads. Our roadmap ultimately, we believe, because of the scale and the fact that our host rock is our host rock is in excess of 10 cubic kilometers. So that's massive. Again, put that in perspective, our inferred resource is basically a pinprick of the volume of our host rock that we're going after. So we do believe, based on the scalability of this project, that this could be a tier 1 mine along the lines of Victoria Gold, which is, again, our neighbors, and essentially provided the roadmap for our project over the coming years. We also have properties in Newfoundland. Just back up here. So this is our property, again, the Florin Gold property. You can see the mountain, you can see the inferred resources, little roads there. It's road access, and on the top corner you have our neighbors. So again, Golden Predator, Victoria Gold, and White Gold, all within the area. In fact, another company, Kaminak, in 2015, they found a resource. They got bought out by Gold Corp for $500 million. Very similar sort of scenario. They hit some drill holes. This was in 2010. 28 drill holes were hit. And the rest is history there. This is me just on the site just a few weeks ago, and you can see we actually had a camp. We mobilized a camp of 25 people in a very short period of time. Our Newfoundland properties are very interesting. It's a different type of system. These are shallow vein systems, but we think it has a lot of potential. We are adjacent to Newfound Gold and Marathon Gold for our Grub line property and our Quinn Lake property. We're also on trend. So just because we're adjacent doesn't mean really anything, but we're on trend. To give you some perspective again here, our Quinn Lake property is again adjacent to Marathon, and it's bordered by this these geological components, the Valentine Lake Shear Zone and the Rogerson Conglomerate. These are very important geological features that suggest that that gold could be held within these corridors. Again, you can see we're right on trend with Marathon, their Marathon deposit, and also their various other deposits, Leprechaun, the Sprite, the Victory, and they've also had exploration success with the Berry zones and so forth. So that corridor alone has defined over 4 million ounces. On the other side of our property, the Wilden Lake property, about $3 million is to be spent on drilling. I think we're going to get results there very shortly as well. So this is a very interesting play for us. It's a smaller in scale. It's probably a large consolidation play with Newfound Gold and/or Marathon, but it still provides a diversification benefit to our shareholders. So that I'd like to open up if anybody has some questions. Okay.
We do, typically it's just a pitch, but because we're a bit early, we can have some questions.
Well, I'm going to just reiterate. So we're currently going through our base shelf. We're looking to raise about $15 million, and that's going to allow us to drill the Florin Gold project extensively and also get really aggressive with our Newfoundland properties. The $15 million represents 4 drill rigs on site. Because we have a Class 3 license, that allows us to have a 28-person man camp. So the Class 3 quartz license allows us to drill for the next 4.5 years. We don't want to go through the Class 4 license just because you have to have additional environmental studies and it's going to delay the process. But we think with 4 rigs on site with 28-person camp as a maximum, that's going to give us all the ability to drill the different high-grade targets on the mountain and really hopefully find something really interesting. Again, the inferred resource was based on very little drilling. What we're looking to do is extend along strike this resource to prove out the fact that we think there is gold everywhere on the mountain. Also, interestingly, with this Florin project, there's 2 control structures. One is called the Jethro fault, and the other is the Treadwell fault. So the resource sector, again, very tiny. It represents about 80 acres of the 22,000 acres. There's a little black line that goes right through the resource. That's the Treadwell fault. And we're testing all along that strike. That strike its zone is about 5 kilometers. Give you a perspective, the inferred resource that was tested, only 900 meters. So So yeah, Victoria, I mean, it's a fantastic deposit, 6 million ounces and growing. Half of that is oxide. They're heap leaching the project, recovery rate of 2/3 of that, so that gets you to your 200,000 meters or 200,000 ounces of gold per year for the next 10 years. They'll probably expand on that. We think, yeah, they're producing gold at 0.6 gram material. Those numbers are similar to what we have at the inferred category already. The difference with Victoria Gold is they're further advanced. They've drilled over 1 million meters of drilling. We've barely touched the surface. We do have higher grade intercepts, and all we need to do is, similar along to the lines of Free Gold and Free Gold Ventures and their model, is find those higher intersects, and we're talking 1 gram material plus, and that'll change the economics of this project completely. Thank you.